Good morning, everyone. My name is Will, and I'm going to go ahead and give you 5 tips to become a better flute player. All right, let's begin. Tip number 1 is assembly. So what you want to do when you assemble your flute, you're going to start with your head joint, and you're going to put it inside the main body of the flute. You're going to find out that you actually can't put this all the way in. I mean, you could. I can put it all the way in. But most flutes are not really designed to be in tune when the actual head joint is all the way in. The next thing you need to know about the head joint is, let's do this real quick, the tone hole needs to be in line. So right now it's not in line. Give me 1 second. Okay. You gotta make sure your tone hole is in line with your keys. Basically all that's doing is making sure the air flows the correct way through the instrument. The next thing you put on is the foot joint. So that's this thing right here. Now, a lot of people when they first start playing flute do this. They line it up like that. That's actually not correct. What you want to do is you want to bring this little knot and go ahead and line it up with this key. So by doing that, you're actually making it more natural to your hand. Of course, normally you don't play your flute up like I am, so this looks unnatural, but really if I were holding it the right way, there we go. It's quite natural. This finger's for the back. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to worry about when you're playing the flute. That'll make you a better flute player. Building it the right way. The second thing is your embouchure. Your embouchure is the way you blow air into the instrument. So, a lot of people do this type sound. Now the problem with 2 things. You get puffy cheeks, which you should never have when you're playing an instrument, and you have no control over the air up here. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and pinch right here on the sides, almost like you're trying to show people your dimples, and blow down that way. There's a lot more control that way. It's a lot stronger airstream, and with an instrument like a flute where you lose a percentage of your ear as you play, you're going to want the most amount of air you can possibly have. Number 3 is your posture. Believe it or not, your posture affects the way the air flows. You can kink your air. Think of your air pipe as like a hose. If you start to bend it, you're going to cause more problems for that water to come out. You can kink it and stop the water from coming out. So, flute players should have their flute parallel to the ground. A lot of the times you see this. That's not correct. Or this. That's not correct. What happens when you have that angle going down or up, either way, you're putting a kink in that air supply, and it's actually making it harder for you to make good sounds. So this is all about making sure we have the right amount of air going into this instrument. Again, I want to stress, you lose a percentage of your air while you're blowing into the tone hole, meaning that you need the most amount of air you can get while you're playing. Good posture is one of those things that is a definite must. Number 4. Rolling in and rolling out. So, as we play instruments, first things first, we got to make sure they're in tune. So make sure you have a tuner of some sort. And then, once it's in tune, as we play it, the instrument warms up, which causes the instrument to go out of tune. So, with the flute in particular, not only do we have to worry about it warming up, the flute is an instrument where if you have one note that is in tune, you're going to find some notes later are not in tune. The whole instrument itself can't always be in tune and you tune to one note. So what flute players do is something called roll in and roll out. So let's use B flat. Let's say, I think that I am flat. Well, let's roll out. So I rolled out. It raises the sound, which means it makes it more sharp or less flat depending on how you want to look at it. If I think I'm flat, I'll roll in. That gives it more air, which makes the sound sharper. You have to use your ear and play your instrument to get used to what you need to do. So again, if you feel like it's sounding flat, you need to roll it out to get less air to make it a more sharp sound. And if you feel like you're going sharp, you need to roll in. So just go ahead and try that out. It's going to take some time to get used to it. I know you never really see a close-up of a flute player in an orchestra, but if you did, you would see this action happening a lot. All right, enough with that. Number 5. The very last thing we're going to talk about, excuse me, I just woke up, is making sure that you get to your fingers quickly. So what happens is when we play a slow ballady type song on the flute, ballady is not a word, I'm just making it up. But anyways, a slower song with the flute, the common thing people do is they move their fingers slow too. That's actually not correct. When you're playing a slow song, you need to move your fingers faster to cover the tone holes more accurately. Why? Because if you don't, you actually hear the weirdness of the notes switching to the other note. It's kind of like a guitar player when he doesn't open up his hand or he slides his hand down the strings. You hear that yeek. You get the same thing with the flute. It's more like a woo kind of sound. But yeah, so those are 5 things you can do to go ahead and become a better flute player. It would improve your flute playing probably within a few hours even. I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. And I will be back next week with more for you. Have a great day. Bye.